Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite at extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White, the whole band here on a Tuesday. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
That was simultaneous.
So when's
who owes who the soda on that one? But it's good to have you guys. Yeah,
I'll give it to Alex. I don't drink soda, so
there we go. Made it easy on that one.
She's so tall today, too. I haven't seen her. She's grown like 6 inches since the last time I saw her.
No, I'm getting close to 6 foot, yeah.
Yeah, hey, why not? But good show lined up here today on a Tuesday. Hockey, basketball, full card of baseball. You know, intriguing night in both the playoffs. Really an earth-shattering happening in New York, which we'll get to second here. Jason Tatum seemed to have suffered likely a season-ending injury based off the look at it. We don't have the confirmation, but he was on his way to an MRI this morning. But all signs indicate a significant lower leg injury. So we'll discuss that a little bit later. We'll also look at the NBA Finals MVP odds that have shifted drastically because of that. And also the markets on the Eastern Conference and Finals as well. It's partying like it's the late 90s with the New York Knicks currently the favorite to win the Eastern Conference, something we've not been able to say since then. So let's get into it. Let's start in hockey, though. Before we go to tonight, Winnipeg-Dallas Game 4. Last night on the ice, command taken by both Carolina and Edmonton. They both win by 3 goals. 5-2 for Carolina, 3-rock for Edmonton. Backs against the walls for both Washington and Vegas, down 3-1 with home ice. But last night, again, Carolina's shown that they've been able to hold Washington's offense down. They did it yet again yesterday. And the Knights shut out by Stuart Skinner and the Edmonton Oilers, who put together a brilliant defensive effort in front of Skinner a night ago. And VGK, Washington, 2 number 1 seeds within their divisional pods, in deep trouble entering Game 5.
Well, it really shifted, right? The last 6 games, I mean, home teams are 5-1, so really no value there taking the road team. So I think that that's starting to mean something here, and we'll get into it for tonight's game, which I think might be the same. But I think it says a lot more about the Canes than it does the Caps. I do still think the Caps are a very good team, but I think that Carolina team is probably as good as the bettors have been saying all year. And it's been a couple years now with this roster that they have constructed, and now they just play so well together. And like you said, I mean, really shutting down Washington's offense with some really good pieces there. So on the other side, I mean, the Oilers just, we were talking about it off air, they look so hungry. I mean, they were so close last year, right? Coming down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals, forcing a Game 7 to lose there. So they look hungry and like they're destined to go on another run here.
Give yourself credit, Alex, on this, because you had Carolina rated the best team in the NHL, and by a fairly decent margin. I'm deleting things I shouldn't be deleting, should hit home. But yeah, you had Carolina number 1, Winnipeg 2, Colorado 3, Florida 4. Now Colorado and Florida are out, and Winnipeg's on the verge. But you've had a high rating on Carolina, so they look the real deal. As you mentioned, they get a high shots on goal number each game, and they defend extremely well. So that's a really good hockey team.
Carolina, again, to close this thing out, Game 5 tomorrow. We'll break it down on the show. Carolina is, or actually that game, Carolina's next game is not until Thursday. They get an extra day. They're minus 70 to close it out in Washington on Thursday night, because Florida and Toronto have an extra day off because the building wasn't available in Toronto. We'll break that game down tomorrow, of course. And Knights are favored in Game 6, or Game 5, I should say, minus 125, plus 05 on Edmonton. Total, again, a juicy 6.5. We did get to the correct bet on that total yesterday, Alex. First period went over. The rest of the game featured 1 goal. So good thing we ended up on the first period and not the full game on Edmonton and Vegas over. That was a dead under, thanks to Stuart Skinner's second career playoff shutout. Those numbers, of course, for Game 5 tomorrow here in Vegas. All right, let's go to Dallas. It's been a wild ride in that city over the last week plus now. Stars with a 2-1 series lead. Of course, last night in the NBA draft lottery with 1.7% chance. The Dallas Mavericks win the draft lottery. We'll get the right to draft Cooper Flagg. It might be 2.0 of the frozen envelope, but that's a discussion for a different time for the tinfoil hat that I may have on for that. But we'll go with the Stars and the Jets, though. So we talked about this yesterday, Alex, a controversial goal on what they ended up ruling a kicking motion that ended up being irrelevant because they claimed Hellebuck knocked it in, which, all right, weird interpretation. Granted, it scored 45 seconds later, and the game was over from there in a 5-2 win for Dallas 2 days ago. Now Dallas is minus 50 at home, plus 30 on Winnipeg. Total 5.5 juiced over. I'm pretty much confused on this series across the board at this rate, so I'm just staying off of it. I have my Winnipeg tickets from pre-series that I don't really like at the moment because Dallas has clearly been the better team through 3 games.
And I don't think I added enough in for Rantanen and some of the moves that Dallas made, because sometimes it can kind of hurt a team rather than help a team and take some time for them to mesh and play well together. Well, Rantanen now in the playoffs has just been such a huge piece for the Stars team, and he joins Gretzky as one of the only 2 players in the NHL playoffs history to have 9 or more goals and 8 or more assists in a 6-game span. So it's pretty good company, right, when you join Wayne Gretzky. So I think it's pretty incredible what we've seen from them. As I mentioned, 5-1 for home teams. I mean, the Knights were pretty fortunate with to be the only road team 3 nights ago. So I lean to the Stars. I think minus 150 is the correct number, though, so you're not really getting a bargain there. But I do like the over. I saw minus 120 is the best price, over 5.5. What we've seen from Hellebuck on the road is a different Connor Hellebuck. So I do think we will get some goal scoring in this one. Over 5.5 is the play.
Mario Heiskanen coming back for Dallas, one of their top defensemen. That should help them a little bit. You got to give revenge for Winnipeg still because they started with home advantage and they lost a game at home. They need to get one on the road. So I'd move the price down lower and look to play Winnipeg in the spot. But the books made a really good number and only made Dallas $1.40 to start now, and there's been money on Winnipeg, so there's just not a lot of value there. I worry about the over because you get 3 straight games. Dallas plays that lockdown defense at home, and Winnipeg's defense has been great all year on the road. So Hellebuck will be embarrassment factor from the last game. Maybe we see we see the real Connor Hellebuck in this game tonight. So we'll see. If you like it over, I think you'd want to bet the first period over again in that situation, because if Hellebuck gets hot, it's going to be 2-1 at the end of the game.
Remember, not 3 straight overs, because we did have a shutout from Hellebuck at home.
Yeah.
So
there's no. They won a game and he did play really well, but he's embarrassed from the last outing. That I don't know if there was an empty net goal or 2 empty net goals. I didn't go back in and look at the box score. It was 5-2.
It was 0 empty net goals.
So he gave up 5.
Gave up 5.
So that's embarrassing in the playoffs.
So Hellebuck, as we've talked about, the home road splits in this tournament so far. Hellebuck in St. Louis, as we've talked about, gave up 6 in the first game in St. Louis. In the second game, and again, got benched in game 3 and game 4. Midstream, gave up against St. Louis, gave up 5 in game 2. And then that was game 4, second road game. And then the third road game, which was game 6 in that St. Louis series, gave up 5 again, and then gave up 5 again in Dallas. 4 is the low water mark so far in this postseason on the road for Hellebuck. It has been a brutal go of it away from Winnipeg for, again, the guy who is looked at as the best regular season goalie in the NHL. That does not inspire much confidence for me. Alex, I think I'm with you. If we're going to find anything here, just bet this over. Maybe even take a Dallas team total over as well, just in case. On the other side, Jake Ottinger has been rock solid for this whole postseason. Had 1 bad game, or 2 bad games, even though that Colorado one where they gave up the ton of goals. That was the one with the Bizarro deflection, and things just unraveled from there in game 6. But would be an agreement of maybe first period over and full game over for Winnipeg.
So,
in this one.
I always say people, they're impressed by what they saw last. And in my mind is I'm at the game, the Vegas Golden Knights against Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's with their second string goalie, and they played such fabulous defense that night. I thought this team's got a great defensive system, not to leave any openings for the Knights, and their second string goalie was in net. So I don't know, maybe they really liked that guy, and they stepped up and really just played great defense that night. But I know they were a good defensive team because of Hellebuck. And I'm looking, yeah, you're right, on their his last 4 road games, he's given up 5 or more every single road game.
Yeah.
That's really incredible. It's a small sample size. It is only 4 in a row. So the guy could also throw a shutout tonight as well. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility, but the way they're playing doesn't look like it. They could fall behind here in this game and then start scrambling. And when you're scrambling, trying to get back in it, it does leave opportunities for the other team and breakaways. So I think it's a stay off for me. I'm passing.
And again, Hellebuck, if you extend it out to last year as well, they've lost 8 straight road games with Hellebuck in the postseason in net, giving up 4 in all those. That's from Nick, and that is also from the NHL as well. So again, it's been a struggle away from Winnipeg for Hellebuck in the postseason the last few years. And honestly, historically, remember, this is a franchise that's ever made the Cup final in either incarnation, either the first one before they moved to Phoenix or since coming back from being the Atlanta Thrashers about 15 years ago at this rate. All right, let's go to the NBA. Let's go there. We'll hold off on Toronto and Florida since games tomorrow. We'll break that down again, 2-2 in that series. Even though the only note of that is that Anthony Stolarz was on the ice today in practice for Toronto, so that will be worth monitoring over the next day. Plus, even though Wall has played pretty darn well over his first 3 outings in this postseason against Florida. All right, let's go to the NBA. We'll start in Cleveland. The Cavs and the Pacers. Don't worry, we'll get to Nick's Boston thoughts in a little bit, but let's get to tonight's games first. Cavs are 3.5 that's first quarter. Sorry, guys. They are 8 tonight, which seems very high with how everything has gone in this series. 230 to total. Yeah, they got embarrassed. Yeah, it ended up being 20. It was 41 at halftime the other night in Indianapolis. Donovan Mitchell is expected to play despite aggravating that ankle injury he's had for the bulk of the last 2.5 months. Alex, I don't know. This could be an inspired effort from Cleveland, and they run Indiana out of the gym, and the Pacers clinch this thing up in Indianapolis 2 nights from now. Or this could just be that Cleveland again, they blew both home games. They blew game 2 especially. I'll probably stay off of this here tonight. It would only look to the total, but 230 and a potential closeout is awfully high, even with how this series has been for the most part, a classically over series.
Very tough handicap here, right, with the Cavs back against the wall. But on the other side, like you said, how this series has played out, and I mean, even in the regular season, Pacers 3-1 and played relatively well at Cleveland. I think they won both of their road games there. Let me double check that. They did win both road games in the regular season too. So with that being said, I mean, 8 seems like a lot that they could keep this at least close with an effort to try and just close it out and not give Donovan Mitchell any more time to rest that ankle. It makes me nervous. I don't know how 100% we're going to get from him, right? He did try and go in the second half, and it was a no-go. So nothing for me. I'm definitely staying away from this one.
Yeah, I'm in at 8.5, 234.5. I'd like it over for the fact that you've got Darius Garland back. He's the true point guard on this roster. Played 24 minutes in game 3. The total went under by a half a point. But in game 4, it comes 238. And that's this series because Indiana is playing a spread offense and running and pushing as fast as they can on every single opportunity. So I just see great runs here in this series, and you're gonna get an up-tempo pace, 2 really good offenses, and a true point guard back for Cleveland. I think that helps them. Donovan Mitchell nursing an ankle injury doesn't help because he is the key scorer and the number 1 guy in that rotation. If he's not in, you're relying on Strus and Jerome to hit shots. It's all Indiana if Mitchell leaves that game at any point. But I'm going to go over the total.
Yeah, I would be surprised based off the way this line has gone that Mitchell is not going to be out there. I mean, he's going to be out there in this game. But you mentioned this earlier in the series, Kenny. Again, even though Jerome had a big opening series against Miami, as we talked about plenty of times with that matchup, the Heat had 2 feet in Cancun going into that series. And also, by the way, if the Heat had just lost in the play-in games, they would have ended up with the first overall pick based off the ping pong balls. So the butterfly effect yet again on that one. But this has just been such a wackadoo over series that even in a closeout game, there's really not an argument for the under, unless if things just all of a sudden tighten or no one can make shots.
Yeah.
But everyone shot the ball well in this series, and the pace has been so outrageous that even if they don't shoot particularly well, this game should be played in the mid-1 teens. So, yeah, I would only be a look to the over like everyone else. By the way, 229.5 is the best number. So if you want to do a little bit better than the current 230s that are mostly abound, you can get that over at the Superbook. All right, let's go to Oklahoma City. Oh, by the way, actually, one more note on this series. Cleveland is still only plus 240 to win this series. So even with Mitchell not 100%, even with, again, Garland and Mobley coming off of injuries and coming back, they're still only plus 240, which seems a little bit crazy to me. But if you like Indiana, you're kind of hoping for a Cleveland win tonight and then flipping around and taking the Pacers before Game 6, or just taking the Pacers in Game 6, because if this gets back to Cleveland for a Game 7, then it looks like the Cavs probably would have found a way out of the well at that point and steal this series. All right, OKC and Denver up next. Series tied at 2. Oklahoma City's 10 tonight with a total of 221. This is a 2-2 series, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are still minus 600 against a team that won the title 2 years ago, a team with the best player in the NBA, and a team that has played pretty darn well in this postseason. Yeah, I know they had to go 7 against the Clippers, but look, it's still a team with championship pedigree, even with the cluster that was firing Michael Malone with 10 days to go in the regular season. Kenny, I'm curious your thoughts on the total here, because this has been a series that has been that had been pretty much to the over in Oklahoma City. Then even with overtime, game 3 went under, and then game 4 was an epic under at 92-87. What do you do with this total now? Is this just one of those now that OKC's at home? This is a more free-flowing tempo, or is this just more of what happened in games 3 and 4 in Denver that this series is just kind of grinding down now?
I love to use home and aways, Jeff, with my totals because at home it is a lot easier to dictate pace. And that's what Denver did. They really slowed this down. 10 possessions. The first game 1, game 2, 104, 105 possessions. Game 3 and game 4, 94 possessions in regulation, both games. So I'm hoping this gets back to an up-tempo game, and it's Oklahoma City who will take it up-tempo. They're the better team, and they'll force Denver to playing faster in this spot. So I think the total has been, obviously, it had to be adjusted because of how low those games were. But at 94 possessions with 2 really good offenses, they could still go over this total if it was only 94 possessions. If we get 104, forget about it. They're in the 230s.
I like over 221 in this one. I really want to make a case to take the points here with the Nuggets for them to keep it close and, try and really put all the pressure on the Thunder and steal this game 5 here. But I think with over, a little safer, in case the Thunder do go on a run. But I think there's a possibility for overtime again here. We've seen it with these two. I mean, they've come down to the wire.
I don't know what to do on the side here. I wouldn't shy. Again, this NBA playoffs, at least sidewise, has been a lot more complex than in the past. I know, Kenny, like just betting. A lot of people will not bet NBA sides in the regular season and then bet them in the postseason.
Right.
I don't think that's been as formulaic as it has been in the past because these teams are so compact in comparison, especially these final 8, especially with the injuries now to Boston. But total feels good, though. I'm with you. What both of you said. This tempo should speed back up again in Oklahoma City. A dictation of the tempo by the better team at home. This game should be played in the mid-220s to me. I think this is a little bit of an overcorrection. Now, if this game was in Denver, different story. Maybe not corrected enough, but for back in Oklahoma City, I think this is a little bit of an overcorrection. It'd only be an over. You can get 220.5. That is available at some shops here in town as well. So, again, shop, find the best number, out and about. All right, from what happened yesterday, real quick. I'm going to start with Minnesota and Golden State because, hey, look, I don't like proclaiming series over, but assuming Stephen Curry does not pull a Willis Reed in Game 5, and even if he does, this is done because Minnesota is just, even with Curry there, they're better than Golden State is. I just don't see a path for Golden State winning 3 straight games. So if you want to take an unbelievable flyer on Golden State, you can get as good as 18-1 to win the series. I would find a different number on an underdog in order to do something like that. I just don't think even if Curry were to come back, they just don't have the horses in the stable to win 3 in a row against Minnesota. Be different if it was 1 or 2, but 3, just don't see it. I just don't see it at all. I think this is Minnesota steamrolling into the Western Conference Finals, and that would be 2 consecutive appearances in the West Final for the Timberwolves. Again, a franchise that has only had 1 appearance before last year, 1 Western Conference final appearance, and that took Kevin Garnett at his absolute peak to get them there. Heights that this franchise has never been, thanks to Anthony Edwards and company now.
And it's really hard. I mean, I wish it wasn't 3 games, but I mean, we can bet this game by game if Steph Curry does come back. But I mean, they were really in it, the Warriors, until that third quarter just kind of got out of hand and, tried to make a comeback there. So it doesn't feel like it should just be, called over. But like I said, game by game is probably better than even taking a flyer on that 18-1.
Yeah, the hardest game is the closeout game. That's going to be it's going to be tough for Minnesota to close out because the Warriors are not going to give up. I think they'll be in it. No Curry in that game, so they'll need to pull the upset to send it back. It's game by game if you play this, and I would if you want to sprinkle money line on the Warriors and think they have hope, I think it's better to do it that way because you don't know if you're getting Curry back. I'm really surprised he's not back, because I know the hamstring thing, and I shouldn't say that because it is an injury where if it's bad and we don't know how bad it was, if he pulled it, he didn't know he pulled it and thinks he strained it, he's out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. So I've seen strains before where kids have played the next game. And I thought this would be a situation where he'd be able to play the next game, but since he hasn't, we may not see him again. They're saying the 18th.
Yeah,
We'll see.
the hope is game 6, but
Yeah.
got to get to a game 6 in order to actually play Steph Curry in a game 6. Again, I don't think we get past tomorrow personally. It's 11.5 with Minnesota right now. But the bigger thing out of yesterday, we said it, Alex, going into game starting with last Friday, that the Knicks had to get one of two at home. They got it last night. The Knicks come from behind. Again, Boston has now blown a double-digit lead in all 3 losses in this series. 121-113. The Knicks behind what was really, in the end, just a great second-half performance from Jalen Brunson. Ends up with 39. And in a night where Jason Tatum had a brilliant performance himself, more likely than not, his season and very possibly a majority, if not all of next season, is going to be done for Jason Tatum. We don't have confirmation next, but it sure looked like it was an Achilles issue for Tatum. Left, ended up having to be basically carried off with no weight on the foot, then had to be wheelchaired back, off the board everywhere on any sort of MVP markets. And the Celtics, who, even if they would have lost in game 4 without the injury to Tatum, still probably would have been plus 175, plus 160, maybe even shorter than that to win this series on the series price. Now without Tatum, balloons to 4-1. And look, the Celtics are deep enough. They are capable of still winning this series. But boy, the tenor, even if they were to come back and win this series in what would be miraculous fashion without your star, this changes the tenor of everything. I mean, just look at now the MVP odds where Jaylen Brown, 40-1, Tatum's now gone. Jalen Brunson's now the third favorite to be the finals MVP at plus 750. And then if you just even look at the conference odds, the Celtics, who had been odds on basically the whole way through, are now plus 850 to win the East here at the South Point. And by the way, this is the first time since 1999 the Knicks have been favored at any point to win the Eastern Conference at plus 120 here at the South Point. So the tenor of everything has changed with that Jason Tatum injury. Again, game number 5 tomorrow. Boston is favored in game 5. They are 4.5-point favorites.
Well, of course, back against the wall, right, and the fallen star. So I do think, like you said, they are pretty deep. I do think that the other guys will step up. Tatum was having a fantastic game, too. 42 points in that one with 8 rebounds. So it is a shame to see that, for sure. Brunson, man, plus 750 if the Knicks can pull it off and go on this run here. They're definitely the most physical, grittiest team, right? So if they do run into a OKC or Pacers team that, has a completely different style there. Halliburton there, 13-1. Is that any value either? Anything you like there on?
I haven't really even thought about it.
MVP?
Alex, I haven't even thought about who could be the MVP. I'd be guessing right now.
Yeah.
No, I haven't put any work into it.
I'll just say here, just eyeballing it, and again, we did this before. The stars on there are FanDuel, which are better numbers than DraftKings. The other ones are just DraftKings wise. Boy, Anthony Edwards at plus 650 feels steep, and I know they have to beat Oklahoma City more likely than not in the next round. And same deal with Joker at 17-1 because if there's an upset on the Western Conference final, now that the chalk is more likely than not going to get through in the East, either chalk. We talked about it before the playoffs. We kind of, at least I laughed at the notion that it couldn't be Cleveland and that it wasn't going to be Cleveland and Boston in the East. And right now, it sure as hell looks like it's going to be New York and Indiana for the second consecutive year in the postseason after they met in the conference semifinals a year ago. But if there's an upset on the Western Conference side at this point,
yeah.
If Denver wins the title, what's the path for non-Jokic winning the Finals MVP? It would basically take an effort from Jamal Murray that would even be above and beyond what we could even anticipate. What would be the path for a non-Anthony Edwards winning if Minnesota wins the title?
You're right about Jokic. If Denver's going to win this series, they need to win this game tonight.
Yeah.
And Jokic is going to have 35, 15, and 10. And he's going to end up, leading his team to victory. You're right. I don't think it's Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray's going to have a good game to be there as well, but I think it's Jokic on the road against this Oklahoma City team. He has to have a monster game.
So, again, we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. We'll have, when we get to the conference finals, we'll get those conference finals MVP odds out, where assuming Oklahoma City gets through, and again, it's 2-2, even though they're minus 650 to win the series. I mean, you're pushing 85% on that number. That's, I don't know if they should be that big of a favorite, but I understand it with how high their power rating is. But it'll be interesting to see, especially if there's an upset. I mean, if it's Minnesota and Denver, that series is going to be pretty close to a pick, even though I would imagine Minnesota, even without home court, would be made a favorite, even though I don't think that would be 100% right either. All right.
Well, Jeff, it's interesting to look at. I have Oklahoma City 9.5 points better than Minnesota.
Oklahoma City,
yeah. 9.5 points better than Minnesota.
Okay, so pretty similar to what
I mean,
Denver
they're
is
the
then.
best team in the NBA by far.
Yeah.
It's not even close. That's why SGA is that big of a favorite to win the MVP.
It's under $2 to win the West.
Yeah.
In a 2-2 series where Minnesota has 1 foot in the Western Conference Finals already. So again, there's a reason that Boston and Oklahoma City going into the playoffs were both odds on to win their conferences. And now that Tatum is out, and obviously in a 3-1 hole on top of it, it would be totally different if Boston was up 3-1 in this series or even 2-2. But in a 3-1 hole against the Knicks, with the Knicks having one more game at MSG, it's crazy. The Knicks' second favorite to win the title with Minnesota right now, as well expected going into this postseason, plus 550 on both New York and Minnesota. All right, let's take a break. The trivia question will come in the bottom. We have baseball to get to and much more when we get back. It's Sports by the Book here on a Tuesday morning right here at the South Point studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Real quick, in the chat, good afternoon if you're watching in the East Coast or the Central Time Zone. Good morning if you're watching in the Mountain or out here on the West Coast. Moises back in the chat, thanking Alex for the under in Cleveland and Milwaukee, and I was on that too. I mean, come on, we were both of us yesterday. Dean, question for Kenny. Question for you, Kenny.
Okay.
College baseball is nearing its conclusion of the regular season. When we reach the NCAA tournament, will you have plays? Basically, is what Dean is asking. Which I think we all know the answer.
Yes,
to that.
of course. Yes, we will. This is the last week of the regular season. Then we've got the conference tournament week. Then we get the first round of the NCAA tournament. Then we got the I guess it's the Sweet Sweet 16. Action, super, what is it called? Super regionals.
Yep. Yeah.
Got the regionals and the super regionals. So again, we have 4 really good weekends ahead of us. So yeah, I'll have college baseball plays. I have one today. I'll give it out at the end of the show.
It'll go on the whiteboard.
I'll go on the whiteboard.
There we go.
Go on the whiteboard.
See, you ask, you shall receive on that. All right, let's get to it. Let's go to Major League Baseball here today. We start in Philadelphia. Cardinals just continue to win baseball games. They went on the road, and they won again in Philadelphia. They've won 9 out of 10. They're one game behind the Cubs all of a sudden. Red hot Cardinals, 3-2 winners yesterday. But another tough task for them, even with their ace Sonny Gray going. It's Jesus Luzardo, who we talked about, Alex, plenty on this show, has been great since coming over to Philadelphia at the beginning of the year. Minus 45 on the left-hander, and the Phils at home with a total of 8 in this one.
See some money coming in on the Cardinals. I saw 150 for the Phillies earlier. Got to give some for this streak that the Cardinals have going. I mean, they have to be feeling good. They're playing really good baseball. Luzardo has yet to surrender greater than 3 runs, though, this year. I think Sonny Gray's been pretty good. I mean, you're going to get about 6 innings and 3 earned runs from him. I think he's got to be feeling good going out on the mound for this team that has been winning. The only way I would look here is under in the first 5. I see a 4 at even money. I think we can trust both of these pitchers to have a good start here.
I'm going to back the Cardinals and stay on the win streak, 9 in a row. I'll have to stay with that. They're just playing good baseball. Yeah, I love what I've seen out of Luzardo. He's been a great pickup for the Phillies. But I can't stump and jump in front of that train. I'm just going to ride the train because I think baseball's worth doing. So, yeah, give me the plus 40 with the Cardinals.
Should have been my dog yesterday. I messed up there.
You were talking about it the whole day. I just got to give the Cardinals credit because I thought that they were going to be one of the weaker teams in the National League coming into the year. I just didn't think they had a lot of depth. Didn't like their pitching, but they're playing some great ball right now, and that lineup is real. There is no arguing that. And if they get some consistent pitching, that National League Central that I thought was going to be a runaway for the Cubs, and it's kind of bled into being a 4-horse race, even with Cincinnati and Milwaukee having struggles on offense at times this year. Boy, that could be a real interesting race in the Central. And for those Central teams, with how good the teams are on the coast this year, winning the NL Central is the only way you can get in this year. Because, again, like we've said, I think the Mets, the Padres, the Dodgers, the Phillies, and even Atlanta with their slow start, the Giants off to a good start, and the Diamondbacks are all capable of winning in the low to mid-90s games. It can be real tough in order to get there, even in a weaker division in the Central. Speaking of the Mets, they take on the Pirates, Game 2 of their series at Citi Field. Mets walked them off last night, 4-3, so the steam ended up being correct on that one. Alex game landed right on 7, so that total was good. It's a 7.5 tonight with 2 good pitchers yet again, Kodai Senga and Mitch Keller tonight, and Senga's a gigantic favorite. He's minus 240. Keller has had his struggles to begin this year. He's a $2 dog in this one. Again, the Pirates just not enough offense in that bullpen. Even with a good start from Skeens last night, the bullpen ends up giving up the game for Pittsburgh.
And Senga, I mean, you talked about it, but really outstanding start. He's held opponents scoreless in 4 of his 7 starts. On the other side, though, Mitch Keller has been pretty good. He's had 5 quality starts so far this season, doesn't really give up home runs. I am still concerned, though, with the Mets offense coming into this 3rd best slugging. And then the Pirates on the other side, 29th in slugging, OBP, and 29th in home run. So that makes me nervous there to even try and jump in and take a plus price there. I think it's the same thing. I think it's under 5 in the first 4. I just am a little concerned that the Mets can get to Keller. So nothing strong, but I think it's a under 4 play for the first 5 innings.
Yeah, looking at these numbers, they're pretty close. My side and total are right there. But when I look at Kodai Senga's numbers, his median game this year, 5 2/3, 4 hits, no runs. You're going to get he can't continue to throw up 0 earned runs every game, right. But there's going to be a bad outing. But as of now, I don't know if there's, maybe it's looking at the Pirates team total under for the game, and it could be a first 5. I do worry about Mitch Keller, though, on the road. He's pitched decent on the road this year, but I worry about him. I think he's a better pitcher, a home pitcher, than he is a away pitcher. Pirates is
2.5 minus 135.
That's pretty low. It's hard.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Under 2.5, you get plus 15. So that
it's still hard to go under 2.5 runs. So I'll just pass.
Glad we avoided that with the Angels.
Yeah.
Going to Atlanta. Braves and the Nats, Game 2 of this series in Atlanta. Braves almost won one more win, and they are back at 500. Walked it off last night 4-3. Even though, again, I Rafael Iglesias has had back-to-back bad outings, so a little bit concerning there for Atlanta. But they're huge favorites tonight. They're minus 230 with Spencer Schwellenbach, old friend for the Braves. Mike Soroka, of course, has dealt with a collection of injuries, gets the start for Washington. Plus 95 on Soroka, total 8.5 in this one. Alex juiced under.
And Soroka's had 2 starts and, given up 4 earned runs in both of those, gone 5 innings. So don't really trust him on that side. I think the number is correct here. Maybe a little bit high, but you're not getting enough on the other side. So, Schwellenbach is definitely the better pitcher, have the advantage there. I want to go over again, but stayed off of it yesterday. 4-3 final, did not get over that 8.5. Glad. And I just am concerned with the lineups and getting enough runs here to even get that over. So I'm gonna stay off of this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the weather. My numbers say over. My side's right on when I adjust for the 6-game losing streak for the Nationals, but my total says 9.5. And Schwellenbach, 3 of his last 5 outings, he has been lit up. Kid came into the big leagues not expecting a whole lot, but he came in with command, attacking the zone, and had a really good first year last year. And he started the year well this year, but again, 3 of the last 5 outings, he's been a below average big league pitcher, and I worry about that if you're going to get that type of outing from him. This maybe not the team to hit him. Both these teams are a little bit of a slump as of late. I don't know why I'm not getting any weather here. My internet is not working quick enough, but I'm just going to pass unless I know if it was 90 degrees in Atlanta tonight, maybe it'd be a little different. I may go over, but I don't think it's that warm there.
Next up, we're
74, 7 miles per hour out. What I'm seeing.
Yeah. All right, so negligible wind and about seasonable, a little, maybe even less than seasonable for mid-May in Atlanta. All right, we go to Chicago next. Cubbies got a 5-2 win against the Marlins, who have finally turned into the Marlins we expected to see this year. Marlins are now 10 games under 500. Bledsoe and Brown, your pitching matchup here. Minus 250 on the Cubs, plus 210 on the Marlins. Total of 8 in this one, Alex.
So a little bit, these two are kind of opposite. Bledsoe held his last 3 opponents to 147 average, but his xFIP 602. And on the flip side, Ben Brown, he has been a mixed bag. Coming off of a season high 9 strikeouts, Cubs didn't give him enough run support in that one. And Bledsoe's also coming off of his best against the Dodgers before the bullpen gave it up. But I think Ben Brown is going to throw a good game here in this one. I'd like to go Marlins under or Cubs over. Looking at the team total, I think I have it here, 4.5 for the Cubbies. I think that they can get to Bledsoe.
Yeah, he's a below average big league pitcher. They should get to him with their offense. They have gone through a little bit of a slump here in the last 7 days of just hitting 190, 349 slugging, and an 80 weighted runs created. And Miami's pretty much the same. They just haven't swung the bats. I know the weather's not good in Chicago tonight. I think the wind is in from center field 5 to 10 miles an hour, but that's not, you square a baseball up, it still could get out of the park. I wouldn't go under with these two pitchers on the mound. I would lean to the over here, even with the weather not being great. The way these teams have hit over the last 7 days, that takes me off the game. So I'm really, for someone who plays a lot of plays, I'm 4 for 4, no plays today.
It's not the best.
Tough card.
Yeah.
Tough card to say the very least. Again, Cubs have really just eviscerated bad pitching this year. And again, if this was a wind blowing out day, this total would be a nice 2.5 runs, maybe even 3 runs larger than the 8 that it is right now at Wrigley. Again, like I said with the Marlins I thought would be the second worst team in the NL. They do have the 3rd worst record at the moment, but they have really regressed at the beginning of May after having a reasonable April where they're only 4 games under entering the month of May. All right, we go to San Fran next. I wonder if regression has started to fully hit the San Francisco Giants after that unbelievable start. They get swept in Minneapolis after taking 2 out of 3, taking 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. They lose yesterday to Arizona 2-1 in what was a very well-pitched game. Merrill Kelly was awesome for Arizona last night. Tonight, it's Fott, it's Ray, it's minus 10 on the D-backs, small favorites at Oracle tonight. Total 7.5 on this one between currently the third and fourth place teams in the West.
I think you're right with the Giants. I just think they have such good pitching, right? But definitely have their struggles on the offensive side. 20th right now in slugging, 25th in OBP. So that makes me a little bit concerned. But that actually, I think, helps the bet that I like in this. And I do want to ask you, talking through this, because Brandon Pfaadt is coming off of his best start against the Dodgers. Scoreless, 6 1/3, 3 walks, just 4 hits. How do we like to do that after coming off a start like that against a team like the Dodgers? But he has pitched very well all year. He's had just a couple bad starts, and I think they were more on the road because it was the Phillies that kind of got to him in the start before that. And Robbie Ray, 5-0 now, 3 straight quality starts. So I think he's really in form too. I was looking at the first five innings going under, or maybe even full game going under 7.5 if we trust these bullpens.
Yeah, I think there's definitely letdowns in pitchers after they pitch a big game, and that could happen. But this is another big game, so it's like you can't really let down. It might be, hey, you just pitched a great game against the Dodgers. Your next start's against the Giants. Let's make sure you're ready. A good pitching coach is letting his guys know, who's next, and want to make sure that they're ready for these type of matchups. But you're right, he struggled on the road. His road numbers are really well below average. He's been 65 cents below average on the road, which is horrible. Robbie Ray, former Diamondback. He's going to be ready to face his old team pitching at home. I wish I could bet him, but I can't. Where's that factor? 4-game losing streak. The 4-game losing streak takes me off of having any type of play. I do lean to the under in the game. So if I'd have to lean to anything, maybe I would look Arizona team total under, because the Giants do have a decent pen, and with Robbie Ray leading to the pen, maybe they give the Diamondbacks a tough road tonight. Ray's been great too. Last 3 starts, hitters are hitting 145 against him.
Yeah.
So he's sharp, and he's going to be extra focused tonight against his old team.
Now you have at 7. You're taking up a full run for Robbie Ray and down to 6.
I won't take off a full run, but I can take off a half a run because he's well above average pitcher, especially at home. So, yeah, I think 6.5 is probably the right number. So I do like the game under, yeah.
Moving along to the American League, we go to Baltimore. It's the Twins and the Orioles. Orioles finally won a series. They took 2 out of 3 in Anaheim at the end of the week. Twins are scorching right now. They have won 8 out of their last 10. They swept the homestand against Baltimore and San Francisco, and now they get another crack at the Orioles. Povich, Woods Richardson, your pitching matchup. Small favorites at home, -25. Total of 9, juiced over at Camden Yards tonight.
I really have nothing in this. I think those numbers are just right here with both pitchers. Twins, this is slight dog on the road here. Orioles, of course, better against righties. So nothing for me in this one. I think 9's the good total number 2.
Yeah, with that winning streak, I'm going to back the Twins. Got to ride the streak. Keep playing them every game. I think this could be a very high-scoring game as well. I got two below-average pitchers with good offensive teams. Baltimore hasn't hit as of late, but back at home against Woods Richardson, they maybe get healthy here. And again, the numbers just have not bode well for either pitcher. Now, they have actually had a decent batting average against the last 3 starts, but both of their xFIPs are high 4s. So maybe they've been a little lucky in a lot of balls, a lot of atom balls for both pitchers the last 3. That hasn't helped them, though. They're still giving up runs aplenty. And I think it's the command, if anything, if you look at both of these guys. Woods Richardson, 31 strikeouts, 12 walks. Povich, 29 strikeouts, 12 walks. Not the greatest of ratios. So both of them high whips. Both of them have struggled, especially in this situation. Richardson on the road has been bad all year, and Povich at home. Neither guy can get into the 5th inning, so they get hit early.
There is a real possibility of a PPD here tonight in this game. Just the weather in Baltimore does not look good. It's going to rain most of the day. There is a little bit of a window potentially right at first pitch, but it only lasts about 2 hours. Could very easily just be, we're not going to mess around and play a double dip later this week. So monitor that as we go through the day. All right, let's go to Detroit next. Tigers and Red Sox, Bayo and Holton. So a bullpen game for Detroit here today. Total 8.5. Alex, I'm just going to go what I said yesterday, where the Tigers are playing so well right now. And if you're going to give me a price with Detroit at home, I'm going to take it. Yesterday, Tanner Houck got bombarded again, which the Red Sox are going to have to figure out what to do with their young, good arm, who has had a bunch of just total blow-ups to begin the year. It was his second start. He's given up more than 10 earned runs in the start. Maybe might be a trip to AAA to get everything all figured out for Houck. But I'm just going to take a price with Detroit, even with it being a bullpen game, even though I like Bayo. You're giving me a price with the Tigers. They're the better baseball team, and they're at home, so that would be a look for me here today.
I agree. I do think that is the right side, and maybe a little bit of an embarrassment factor for the Red Sox coming into this one, but I do feel good because I read up that Holton was just going to be an opener. Then we are going to see Montero, so trust him coming in for the Tigers. But yeah, they've just been playing so well, and Red Sox offense is pretty good, but they have cooled off a little bit. So I think that number's okay total-wise, too. I can't go under here with this Tigers offense.
I'm going to go under. I like the Tigers, love the Tigers bullpen, and with it being a bullpen day, I don't mind that. I know I'm going to get Montero for a couple of innings, but I like the pen. I like what I've seen out of Bayo. He's been really good. I guess walks to strikeout ratio has not been good, but I think he's got a good arm. I had him rated high last year. His median start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. I'll take that out of him tonight. If I can get that, I think I got a very good under. And yeah, I do like the Tigers. I've been backing them. They're the one team I have the most money on right now to win the American League and win the World Series.
Can't really blame me on that. At the moment, they are pretty clearly the best team in the American League. Mariners yesterday, of course, just they can't win at home right now, even though the Yankees, Oswaldo Cabrera suffered what was a brutal-looking injury at the plate yesterday. Ambulanced off as well. We'll get to that game in a little bit. Let's go to Toronto next. Jays, Rays, the Rhyming Bowl north of the border. Berrios and Boz, pretty reasonable pitching matchup. Toronto's minus 30. Berrios home road splits, as we've talked about, does give up a lot of homers. Total of 8 in this one. Alex, I'd actually only looked at the underdog and Boz here. I like going against Berrios whenever I get the opportunity with a plus price on the other side, and I feel like I have the better pitcher in this game as well with Boz. So plus 15 on the Rays is going to be a look as well for me today.
I think Berrios is the better pitcher in this one. Coming off another good start versus the Angels. So he picked up his second straight quality start. I worry about Boz. I mean, looking at his last 3 opponent batting average, 336, and xFIP 641. So I wouldn't lay it minus 130. I'm not that confident with Toronto, but that would be the only side I would look to.
I'm right in the middle of you guys. I have both guys rated equally, and I was going to look up Shane Boz. You just mentioned his numbers over his last 3 starts are horrendous. He's been getting hit a little bit. Guy that's, first rounder, got great stuff. And yeah, he's gotten knocked out of his last 2 starts, both at home. But remember, that is a really good hitter's ballpark. Didn't think about, maybe the wind was blowing out those 2 games, or it could have been really high temperatures and the ball carried. This would be a good ballpark for him to pitch in tonight in Toronto. So I expect a bounce back from Boz here. I do like Berrios more at home, much more at home than I do on the road. My numbers are saying I'm supposed to bet Toronto because of that 4-game winning streak. My numbers are saying under, and now that I think that Boz has a bounce back, I'm definitely going to bet the under. I think he does have a bounce back. I think he's going to like Toronto much better than he likes George Brenner Stadium.
Yeah, even though Toronto does play as a hitter's park, it's not like what we've seen so far down there outside in Tampa this year. Next game up on the docket, Houston hosting Kansas City. Stros and Royals. Royals got the win yesterday down in Space City, 7-5. Reasonable pitching matchup here. Pair of lefties. We know how good Framber Valdez is, but Bubic is off to a reasonable start this year for KC. Minus 40 on the Stros, plus 25 on the Royals. Total 7.5 in this one.
I do. I think with this pitching matchup, this is a good under 7.5 here for the full game, or if you want to take the bullpens out of it. But I think both of these pitchers will go pretty deep. 6 innings is both of their median. And yeah, I like the earned run median for both of them. Bubic 0 and Valdez 2. But I think Framber Valdez is even better at home. So under for me in this game.
Love the lefties, both these lefties, real good. I was going to say this might be the best pitching matchup of the day. And then I look at my next game, and it's in all red. So I know the next game we talk about is going to be the number 1 pitching matchup. But this, I think, is the second best pitching matchup of the day with Bubic and Valdez. And I think they lock horns. I like the first 5 under. Take the bullpens out of it. The Astros have the far better bullpen of the two teams. But I'm going to go first 5 under in this one.
Stay out, even though you are getting a better number, first 5, than you would. Again, it's a 4 with on a 7.5. You do see 3.5s a lot with this. So, better number on that first 5 than you could have expected here. You can't really be too upset with that. All right, let's go to Seattle next. Brian Wu, Max Fried, great pitching matchup. Mariners and Yankees. Yankees are minus 40 on the road behind Fried, who has been as good as anyone in the American League. Total of 7 on this one. Again, Mariners trying to stop the home slide. They've lost all 4 games on this homestand so far.
And that is the one thing that kind of keeps me off of this. I'm almost thinking this is a good Mariner spot, and I can't believe I'm saying that going up against Max Fried. But, I mean, he is just pitching so well. There's got to be a time. And I think Brian Woo's really good, too. I have been backing him as well. So, again, with that 4-game losing streak, I don't really want to jump in front of this Yankees, but I thought the Mariners were right there in that, and then Yankees scored 6 in the 5th and kind of ran away with it yesterday. But I don't know. Another under here? Under.
Pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah.
Max Fried, what a great year. He's just been unhittable. And Brian Wu, great command, attacks the strike zone. He doesn't give up any walks. He's going to go after you, and he's going to force you to be ready. Looking at these two guys, median numbers, home and away. Max Fried on the road, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Brian Wu at home, 6 2/3, 4.5 hits, 1 run, 1.5 walks, 6 strikeouts. Best pitching matchup of the day with a pitcher's ballpark. I'm going under the 7.5 here.
Crazy thing is, Brian.
Actually, it's 7. I'll go under 7.
Brian Wu has had mostly road starts, 4 road starts, just 2 at home. So that'll be nice to be back in that ballpark, too. I mean, not the best lineup on the other side you want to see, but
his overall numbers are good. His overall median is 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. I mean, if he can give me that, I feel like it's going to be a 2-1, 2-2 game going to the 7th or 8th inning.
Let's go to Cleveland next. By the way, first 5 total, 3.5 currently in the market. Boy, I do think that is good still, like you guys said, but going under 3.5 first 5 is always a dangerous game. All that takes is one big pop, and you're in big trouble. And Aaron Judge is playing in this game, so that's always something you have in the back of your mind. All right, let's go to Cleveland next. Guards, Brew Crew. It's Priester, it's Allen, your pitching matchup here tonight. Guardians just continue to play well. A 5 rock win, and really a routine under yesterday and that one, Alex. Total of 9. Cleveland's a small favorite of minus 125, plus 110 on the Brewers. Again, total seems high in this one, even though I don't love Allen on the Cleveland side. But 9 feels high again, Alex.
yeah, it does feel a little high. But you're right. I am kind of nervous about both pitchers on both sides. The Brewers just have not been playing well. So as good as the Guardians looked yesterday with that 5-0 shutout, looking at both of their offenses right now, Brewers 23rd OBP, and Cleveland 22nd. So finding ways, but more from their pitching. I guess you make a good point with the under. So I'm not going to do anything in this one. I'm going to stay off of it.
Yeah, my numbers say under. Just 2 really bad offensive teams. I don't like the pitchers either, but love Cleveland's bullpen. Logan Allen can give them 4 or 5 decent innings, and his numbers they're not bad. I mean, they're not ridiculously bad. His median numbers 5 1/3, 6 hits, but 2 earned runs over that time. And Priester's 5 innings, 5 hits, 1.5 runs. So if I can give up 3 or 4 runs in the first 5, I got a good chance with those bullpens. Both teams struggle offensively. I have below average ratings on both teams, and the Brewers over the last 7 days, 188 batting average, 318 slugging, and a 66 weighted runs created. So they're really struggling, and they do struggle versus lefties. So I'll go under the 9.
The under 9 feels good to me. Even when, again, I don't love Allen. I really don't. I think he's a below average starter, but you just said it, Kenny. Neither of these offenses particularly great, especially Milwaukee against the left-hander in Allen here tonight. All right, let's go to Cincinnati next. Abbott and Cannon, your pitching matchup for the Reds and the White Sox. White Sox, again, on a nice little heater. They actually won a series over the weekend, guys, as we talked about. Reds, again, their offense just wildly inconsistent. They lose 2 out of 3 in Houston their last time out. Abbott's a big favorite, not surprisingly. They're in the Queen City, minus 210 on the Reds, total of 9 at Great American Ballpark tonight.
Pretty surprised to see this 9 as well. I think it did move down a little bit, but I like under in this one. I mean, I think both pitchers can pitch decently well, and these are 2 of the 4 worst offenses going today. I mean, we talked about the Pirates and then the Brewers, and then it's these 2. I mean, looking at their batting averages in the last 7, 206 and 200, and then 59 and 72 WRC plus. So I think 9's too high for these 2.
Yeah, for a combination of 2 teams and looking at the last 7 days, these are the worst 2. That combination of lineups, and I do like Abbott. Solid left-hander. It's off to a good start for the season. 24 innings this year, 2.25 ERA. That's going to go up a little bit, but his numbers his xFIP is a 3.42 over the last 3 starts. He has good stuff, and Jonathan Cannon's had a decent year for Chicago so far. Yeah, my numbers are saying under. I'm right there with you. I'm going to go under that 9.5.
We go to Texas next, guys. The Rockies actually had a lead for a little bit yesterday, and then the Rangers came back 1-2-1. Wyatt Langford's home run, the difference. Minus 250 tonight on the 500 Rangers, plus 210 on the Rockies, who are a nice hearty 7-34 now after last night. Total 8.5 juiced under. It's Jack Leiter. It's Kyle Freeland, who's technically the ace for Colorado. There is no ace in Colorado, realistically speaking. Alex, I would probably, that price is too steep on Texas. I wonder if there's another way to play this game potentially.
Well, I really wanted to go with the under yesterday, but I was nervous about the Rangers. Their bat's starting to get going a little bit since they, switched the staff there and Corey Seager back. But it was a pretty easy under. Do I trust these 2 pitchers enough to go back with that and go under 8.5? That's the only way I would look here, especially I think Freeland, the lefty. I mean, he'll have a better time here. So under for me or pass.
I made the Rangers $1.85 after adjusting for the 3-game winning streak, so no play. I'm gonna, Rockies have been so bad that, especially on the road, they're always been notoriously bad road team. Before I forget, home teams again were close to 61% the first month of the season. But after I crunched the numbers yesterday, they are now 56% overall. So after 13 days of May, I think it's probably a small fraction that the home teams have won. It's going to back to normal that you're going to see some more visitors cover, but it won't be the Rockies, won't be the team that's covering on the road. I don't really trust either pitcher, but I do have 2 really bad lineups. I think the key for me will be finding out whether the roof is open or closed. It was open yesterday, but they couldn't score even with it open. So if it's closed today, kind of cavernous and ball just doesn't carry there. So check that on their Twitter. The Rangers have a Twitter, Globe Life Stadium. Open or closed with the roof status.
I have to imagine it'll probably be closed today, but we'll find out a little later in the day. We go to San Diego next. Another wild comeback in the 9th inning by the Angels last night. They do it against Robert Suarez and company. Suarez's ERA, by the way, went from 0.5 to 3 after last night. Just couldn't find a strike zone. The Taylor Ward grand slam capped a 6-run ninth inning and a 9-5 Angel win last night. Padres are minus 220 with Dylan Cease. Soriano on the other side of plus 190 tonight. Total 7.5 at Petco for game 2 of this series.
Trying to find a case to want to go back with the Angels here and take that plus 190. I just don't really trust Soriano. Pretty inconsistent. I mean, did great against the Tigers. No 0 earned runs, 6 hits on 6 innings pitched, and then gave up a lot to the Blue Jays in the next outing. So I don't know if it's a due factor, but Dylan Cease really hasn't been the same guy that we saw last year either. So still trying to figure things out. That's the main point. I can't lay minus 220 here with him when I feel like Soriano's actually pretty close with what we have seen from Cease this year. So nothing for me. I'm going to pass on this one.
Yeah, my numbers are right there too. But it is a slight lean for me to the Angels. So I'm going to really look this over and see if it's worth any value. When I look at Cease's game logs, couldn't make it to the 5th in 2 of his last 3 outings, but his last outing against the Yankees, 6 2/3, 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. That was the best game he's pitched this season. Does he have a letdown after, pitching that great of a game against the Yankees? We'll find out. I think it could be a low scoring game. My total's at 7. The books have 7.5, so we know it's going to be low scoring. That gives the dog a little bit of a shot. So I'm going to look at this. I might take the Angels and Soriano plus a half run and lay a price in the first 5 innings.
It's interesting with Cease, that great outing. He ended up leaving with some tightness in his arm, a little bit of a scare. But again, making his next scheduled start is right away. So obviously it was not too bad. Again, took a no-hitter into the 7th inning against the Yankees his last time out. Last one on the board, we go to L.A. Dodgers, A's, Springs, NAC, minus 90 on L.A. Athletics are plus 170, total 9.5. Alex, I don't like either of these pitchers here tonight. The total tells you that because you very rarely see anything north of a 9 at Dodger Stadium, and you got one here tonight at 9.5.
Yesterday, these two play or no?
The first game of the series tonight.
First game of the series tonight. Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree with you. And looking at these two pitchers and their rating, 2 of the lower ones combined. Well, that's not true. The Marlins and the Cubs might be. But I do think we'll get some runs in this one between these two. And we know the Dodgers can hit lefties too. So with Springs on the mound, it doesn't really help much. Nothing official. Lean to the over.
Yeah, I agree. I would lean to the over. Both teams are swinging it. Both teams got really good lineups. I think the Athletics have done a nice job with the pieces they've brought up, and we know how good the Dodger lineup is. You can trust them. It's like night in and night out. This team puts up runs. So with both pitchers as bad as they are, obviously the later it gets in the night, the thicker the air gets. So I might look at the first 5 over in this game between these two teams.
All right. And that first 5 over in this game, Kenny, is a solid 5. So actually not too bad. You could have very easily seen a 5.5 on this one.
Easily.
For the first 5. But yeah, you can get a 5 minus 15 readily available in the market. All right, we'll take a break. When we get back, the whiteboards, also the trivia question answer when we get back here on Sports by the Book, wrapping things up on a Tuesday.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite at extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Final segment for us. The whiteboards will be ready in moments, but first, the trivia question of the day, and this is the anniversary of the first Formula One race. How about that? So which country played host to the first Formula One World Drivers' Championship race all the way back in 1950? And it, of course, was England. British Grand Prix was the first ever F1 race won by Giuseppe Farina, 70 laps back on May 13th, 1950. A little bit different of a look now as in comparison to what it looked like all the way back 75 years ago today. And JR has won 2 in a row. So Farina, JR, there you go. Those are the winners here today of the trivia question and the first ever Formula One race.
Pretty cool. I like being able to see the visuals that Ryan has added in the lower third there. So very cool.
All right, whiteboard time here on a Tuesday, May 13th. As we'll get these all ready for everybody here in a second, and maybe, but we Ryan, you can set it up as we go along here. We have a college baseball play from Kenny White, along with a lot of totals for Kenny, and that's where we'll begin here today on a Tuesday.
NBA total, talked about that Denver OKC series over in Oklahoma. It was been under in Denver. Now that they're back in Oklahoma City, let's play it over the 221. I think the Thunder control the pace there. Major League Baseball, Miami and Chicago Cubs over the 8. The Arizona Diamondbacks, San Francisco with Robbie Ray pitching against his old team. I like the game under 7.5. Kansas City, Houston, another really solid pitching matchup with Bubic and Valdez under. Yankees and Seattle. This is the best pitching matchup of the day. Fried and Wu in a pitcher's ballpark under the 7, and then college baseball. Utah BYU play tonight. Big rivalry. That number's 15.5. I think that's just a little too high for those two in a rivalry game. So under there, BYU, Utah.
Love it. Couple of the same here, maybe just playing a little different, but I am going Nuggets and Thunder over 221. Again, Thunder will control that pace. MLB, first 5, 2 of them with Brandon Pfaadt and Robbie Ray. We're going under 4 in San Francisco, and then the Royals and Astros under 4 as well. And then full game, I'm going White Sox and Reds. I just got to hope Cincinnati doesn't put 10 up in the first inning, and we should be okay. So under 9 in that one. I do like the Yankees and the Mariners, but I'm going to keep that one off the board.
There you go. There are your whiteboards for Kenny and Alex here on a Tuesday morning.
A lot of totals. I think we only have totals, huh?
There are no sides on those boards. That is correct. All totals here today. Tomorrow on the show, Brady Cannon will join us on the back end of the program, PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. See what Brady has to say. Preview of the second major of the golf season coming your way on the show tomorrow at about 10:30. But we will start, as we always do, at 10 a.m. right here on the channel. Kenny, Alex, some winners tonight, por favor. Hopefully good whiteboards on there for both Kenny and Alex. Shout out to the crew, Drew Dog and Ryan. Vince, Jerry here today. Sean on his off day as well. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again tomorrow, right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.